Rather, you will give up because you hate the fact that you suck. So no one's saying don't do things that are important. Just prioritize your life. Massive activity, once your eyes are open that you suck, will also heal your weaknesses. If there is no amount of money that would solve that problem, then you're right. It is an actual problem. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. I can't make it. No. It's not that you can't make it. It's that you won't make it. We confuse situation with problem. All right, Mac Agabor, Haven Real Talk. So success loves speed. That's how I title this. And what do I mean by that? Well, here's what we know. A lot of activity will reveal your weaknesses. And that's where most people run. That's where you have to have emotional fortitude in order to win in free enterprise, because you will do a lot of work that you heard other people had done. And if you suck, you will, and you're normally used to being good, you will run and you will fail, or rather you will give up because you hate the fact that you suck, because the massive amount of activity revealed how bad you were, right? That's where most people stop. But the truth is, the same anecdote will heal you. Massive activity, once your eyes are open that you suck, will also heal your weaknesses. So you first find out that you suck, and then you suck faster, and then you become good. That's how it's always worked. So success loves speed. It's always been that way since the beginning. Now, I'm going to be specific to help people out that are working. I want to share with you a way to limit your anxiety, increase your knowledge. How and what should dialing look like? When you go into a dial session, you need to know what the future looks like. When I say success loves speed if you can control it. Think about it. Speed is great, even if you have a need for speed, as long as when you press the gas, it goes a little bit. But you ever had it where, or think about it, if you were driving a car and all of a sudden the car just starts taking over itself and it goes from 50 miles an hour to 90 miles an hour and you can't stop it, you can't control it, that's not a thrill that you want. That's just fast and it sucks, right? That's what happens. This is the NBA for people. This is the fast track. This is the NASCAR. You get into this lane of, big money and, opportunity, and it's going fast. I mean, the objections are coming fast. Everything's coming fast, but we can't control it. And so we get anxiety instead of control. How do you change that? Well, if you increase your knowledge, your anxiety will lower automatically. So when you have anxiety, I want you to just take this to the bank. This is free for you. This is worth the price of admission. When you have anxiety, it's because your knowledge is low. When you have high anxiety, your knowledge is low, your vision is blurry. But when your knowledge increases, when you get clarity, guess what happens to anxiety? Gone. So here's how you minimize or remove it completely. What should it look like in this process of dialing? Going back to internet leads, here's how it works. If you break up your leads in batches of 25, here's what we know. The numbers have already been written from experience. There is a 25% answer rate. That's just the way it is. Now, it isn't just for any lead. It's for just about almost any lead. It isn't just for one lead. I mean, it's just for about every lead. So what I mean by that is 25% of the people will answer. So just for easy math, if it's 200 leads, 50 people will answer the phone. That's just the facts. It's like if I gave you a ball of 100 balls, 100 basketballs. I'll make it even simpler. If it was 100 basketballs and I said, hey, 25 of these will go into the net, or better yet, 25 of these will at least hit the backboard. Like you'll get close, you'll hit something. You'll hit the backboard, the rim, it'll hit something, the net maybe. If you knew that, that would be cool, right? You knew up front. So 25% answer rate every time. So if you do this, you break up your batches of leads in batches of 25. You're going to call 25 leads and get your calculator out. This is going to remove anxiety. 25 times 0.25. How many people will pick up the phone? Pop it in the chat if you know the numbers. 6.25. About 6 people will answer the phone. If you don't believe me, go get some leads and dial them and tell me it ain't true. And you're like, whoa, Mac is a fortune teller. It's just the way it is. You know it. Out of that 6, that's if you had 100 leads, that is. But let's make it simpler. Let's say you had 200 leads. 25% of 200, that's 50 will answer the phone. So let's go back to the normal example though. You breaking your batches of leads in 25. 6 answer the phone. Half of them will say go pound sand. You should be able to book. You'll have a chance with the other half. Just remember that. So up front, when you get the 6 that answer, you know it's going to be, are you part of the 3 that will say no matter what? Or are you part of the 3 that I may have a chance? You don't know. But you should be able to book, I would say, 1 to 3 appointments from that batch. You should. So you call the 25, you get 6 answer, boom, you book, let's say 2 appointments, 1 appointment, boom. Then those remaining who didn't answer from that batch of 25, guess what you do now? You triple dial those, and you'll get a little bit more of an answer. And you'll see the answer rate, maybe that'll be maybe, I don't know, 6, maybe it's 18%, but you'll get a few more answers from calling them because they saw your number on their phone for 3 times. Now you're calling them a second time, 3 times. So now they've seen your number 6 times on their phone. They're more than likely to answer the second time because now they're wondering what it is. So you increase. So that percentage is stuck, y'all. It's 25% if you just call through the first time. If you call through a second time, the percentage will increase. Now, the only question is, do you have the time? And will you make the time to go faster? So let's say I was a new agent and I wanted to remove anxiety. I don't know what your ratio is, Ron. I don't know what your ratio is, Melissa. That's the thing about it is, remember, speed is only good if you can control it. So the first step you have in order to be able to have success here or anywhere, you need to find out what your ratio is. How many appointments do I book in an hour? How many appointments do I book out of 25 leads? So if I had a batch of 25 and I booked, let's back it up. Let's say I had a batch of 100 leads. I broke it up at 25 and I booked 2 appointments out of that first batch of 25. And that took me an hour. Guess what that would tell me? I can do 2 an hour. But let's back it even further. Let's be more conservative. Let's say I booked 1 appointment every 25. Now, how many leads do I have? 100 leads? Okay, so 25, 50, 75, 100. So that means that if I keep doing it, I would book how many appointments? 4. 4 appointments, y'all, because every 25 I book 4. So I have 2 options. That's my ratio. Listen, you can't hate yourself. You are who you are. The skills that you've gathered, that's what you're seeing. You can say all day, I'm better than this. No, look at what your results are. That's where you are. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. So step 1 is accept yourself for where you are. Beating yourself up is not going to solve the problem. So you book 1 an hour. So you got 2 options. You can either get significantly better or you can go significantly faster. So how long did it take you to book those appointments? It took you an hour to go through that 25 first batch. Okay, got it. Now the only option you have is, okay, what could I do to go faster? Could you get a dialer system maybe? That maybe cuts down the time in half because again, that's one way to do it. Could you move your fingers faster? Could you cut the time between dials a little bit less? Could you get 2 phones? Do you see how I'm thinking now? Because you are who you are, the only option you have is increasing the speed. Because if I can do 1 appointment every hour, meaning I go through that first batch of 25 in 1 hour, meaning I call through 25, I get 6 answer, then I call through the remaining 18, right? Or sorry, 19. Then maybe that takes me a little bit more. I call through a third time. If I can maybe do that in maybe 45 minutes, will that save me a little bit at 15 minutes? Then that 15 minutes adds up little by little. Now I book 6, 7, 8, 9. Here's another thing you can do. Now, once you get better, you're just looking to compress time, y'all. Your skill is your skill. That's what you got. Your job is to use your skill the best you know how. That makes sense, everyone? That's how you control the future. But if you don't know how to control the gas, or even if your speedometer is broken, come on, guys. I mean, you guys ever had, I've had it. You guys ever had a broken speedometer in your car before? Hey, maybe you haven't lived in that kind of vehicle. I have. Guess what you do? You follow other cars. You just hope that they're going the speed limit because you know what? What do? A lot of us, our speedometers are broken in the business because we won't take the time to just fix it. We won't even track it manually. That's how you tell. So when I say, hey, how many dials did you make? A lot. What was your answer rate? Not many. Does that even sound like you can track it? No. So just remember that you got to use your skill set for what you got. And I'm going to just maybe conclude with this, with an image in your mind. I wrote this down because I hope it helped you. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. The small things you decide to do. My son woke up last night. He asked if he can cuddle with me. I said, sure. You know, he can sleep with me. Sure. I said, sure. He said, hey, could you wake me up at 4 a.m? I want to do an exercise. I want to do the workout. I said, sure. 4 o'clock comes. I wake him up and he's like, and everyone else is supposed to get up and do it. But I was testing him and he gets up because I woke him up and he goes to look around. It's dark and comes back, sits down, and you know what's coming. When you're that tired and you sit down, what's coming? Come on now. You're going back. And so he knows that. I mean, I was kind of eyeballing him, so I kind of leave, get my thing done. I come back in the room, guess where he's at? I mean, he's out. I said, nah, listen, have some integrity. You said you would get up at 4. Get up at 4. Do you want to be a sheep or a lion? Do you want to be a slave? Because if you're waiting for everyone else to get up in order to give you permission to to do your exercise, you will be a slave for the rest of your life. Go do it and do it alone if you got to. Hey, go wake up someone, knock on the door, but don't wait for them to come there. Just do what you do. That's the key. So again, the way you do anything is the way you do everything, because if you say you're going to get up, and this is one thing I want to tell you, there are people that say they're going to come to conference. They said it. This is how it's going to change my life. And of course, as time happens and as things happen, oh, I can't make it because, oh, this happened. I'm really, really surprised by that, because I want you to understand, you get in life in proportion to the problems that you're willing to solve and you're able to solve. The problem that you've been solving is not bringing you the money that you want. So that means that you're going to have to solve bigger problems to increase your worth to society. To God, you're worth $1 billion, but to society, you're worth what you're getting paid. Now, so in order for you to solve a problem, doesn't a problem have to arise? So when, this happens or that happens in life, that is the obstacle between you going to that event that you committed to, that's supposed to take it to another level, happens, and you suddenly say, well, I can't make it. No. It's not that you can't make it. It's that you won't make it. I'm not saying that things happen that aren't important. Here's what I'm saying. I'm just saying you should prioritize. That's all I'm saying. Prioritize. If you prioritize, life will move for you. Now, when it comes to prioritization, life is going to happen no matter what. But here's the question I ask you. Are you having situations or are you having problems? We confuse situation with problems. Here's the situation. My wife died. Here's the situation. I'm diagnosed with cancer and I have to go to surgery tomorrow. Or during the time that the surgery is life-saving, they need me in there as quick as possible. That's a problem. Anything that can be solved with the stroke of a check, if there was a certain amount of money that would solve that problem you have, guess where you should be? At the conference. If there is no amount of money that would solve that problem, then you're right. It is an actual problem. Now, you still have to decide what you're going to do. Would not going to conference making any better? That's the question you got to make. So no one's saying don't do things that are important. Just prioritize your life. And prioritizing your life will determine whether you're worth it or not, because you said that you wanted to solve bigger problems, but here's the bigger problem, the obstacle, and now you quit right before the obstacle. And I'm telling you this because it's already happened to me. And if you're a leader, if on your own right, even if you're the only one on your team, you will see this happen to yourself, where people say these things, but unfortunately, when the time comes to prove whether they're worth what they said, they will decide who they really are. That's why for me, the people that come to conference are the ones that I work with, because I know that there are problems that existed. It's not going to be because it was easy. There's lodging, those are easy problems. There's airfare, then there's family, there's all these things, but they made it anyway. Those are the ones that are planting their flag and saying, you know what, I am going to figure it out. That's the one. Now, I'm going to just lastly say this regarding knowing your ratio, accepting yourself for who you are. I found it interesting when I was looking at George Washington and his battle. We glorify him, which is awesome because he is great, about how awesome he was. But did you know, to the contemporaries, some people called him a coward? Did you know, if you look at the American history, he didn't win any battles. He would be known more for running away, retreating, because he chose his battles well, chose them very, very well. Here's what I mean. He knew from the get-go that head-to-head, he could not win against the British. It was suicide. So he would hit them like gnats here and there, and just these different unexpected battles. Because back in the day, it was all about ready, aim, fire. We ain't going to win that way because we don't got enough people. So he went the unorthodox method, and he told his soldiers, do not engage unless you got to, because we don't got enough men, right? Because if you lose your gun, we're out. So he chose that precise time. So when that, I think it was in Delaware River, or wherever it was, when they went on that river and they snuck in the middle of the night, got those Germans that maybe they were drunk, who knows, that battle, that was critical. They chose that battle. Here's what I'm saying to that. You have to choose your battles wisely. Choose your battles wisely. If you're a small fish, maybe you can't invest in $100 a day Facebook leads, because head to head, you will get slaughtered. You can't sustain it. But what you're going to have to focus on is what you are good at. Maybe you focus on who you are. You know your ratio. You can flip it. Maybe you book one appointment an hour. Now, the only angle you can become good at is being resourceful. Now, maybe you can work a little faster. That is what you can do. Now you can find a way to compress time. Those small things. And then because you're doing these small things, you start creating momentum. And suddenly you win the war. Now France says, you know what? Hey, we believe that you got a shot, because France, they want to get in the war because they thought it was a suicide mission. They would lose more money. But when they won that battle, France said, okay, we're in. We'll fight with you. And now we got a free country. But if he had just went head to head, it would have been over. Here's my point in saying that. Use your battles. Choose them wisely. Do it like houses. You're an investor. Investors invest in houses, but each house goes through the auction. It's $1 million house, but you don't have their capital. Maybe for someone else, they can have the capital, the 100 grand to renovate that house, to make it profitable, but you only got 20 grand. So not every house is your house. Not every lead type is yours, but you got to just be resourceful. There is one. You're only going to find it if you know your ratio. So just remember that, guys. Without knowing the speed, you're never going to do it. So focus on I wrote this down, to focus your limited resources in the right place. If your resources are limited, you can control hustle. You can control showing up on time. You can control your attitude. All those you can control. So if you can control sweat equity, control that. Meaning, be the last person to leave the office. That you can control, right? Do that. There's just so many things you can control. And then use your resources when the time is right. Boom, then you strike. This happens not only in business, happens in athletics. One last example, Ronaldo. There's a lot of players that are going up in the ranks. They're good players, but they can't wait. They want minutes now. There's a superstar ahead of them. They have two options. They can either go to another team where they're risking it and die because of just the difficulty, or they can be patient and wait for their chance for someone to get hurt. But in the meantime, they're working hard in practice. They're using their resources. So again, success loves speed, guys. Get your speedometer fixed. Focus your resources in the right place. Conference is coming. If it hasn't yet hit you, there will be some challenges coming at you. The question will be, are you going to be showing your worth that you can solve big problems, or are you going to just cave in and be the same person you were then? I'm just telling you, not only for yourself, but for the people who decide not to attend. You are not getting what you will never get what you want. You'll get what you are. And you are based on the decisions you make. And the decision that you're making, either not going or going, will determine who you are. So that's it, guys. Next week, take care, take charge. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.